There are not too many TV series as thrilling, unpredictable, and full of nerve-wracking scenes like Game of Thrones. One could say that there were way fewer moments of somewhat peaceful story arcs than there were anxiety-inducing ones. However, few scenes make fans just hit the pause button either to pay attention to the details or to just analyze what just happened. In Westeros, most fans expected the death of at least one main character, clothes dropping down in every episode, or even a surprising slaughter coming out of nowhere. Throughout this intense show, countless scenes made viewers extremely nervous while feeling the anticipation of a terrible end, either on a confrontation, battle, or wedding gone wrong. Audiences got used to plot twists that shocked everyone, but these scenes below stand out as the most daunting. Warning: mature and dark themes will appear ahead. 10. White Walkers' first appearance. From the very first episode of Game of Thrones, the White Walkers were hinted as a haunting, ominous presence lurking in the shadows. They were mentioned often but seen sparingly, their terror amplified by their mystery. That changed in the chilling finale of Season 2. As the Night's Watch sets up camp beyond the wall, a storm brews, both literally and figuratively. Amid the chaos, Samwell Tarly trips and falls, left behind as the other Rangers scramble. The scene builds to an unforgettable climax, as Sam looks up to see a White Walker riding a decayed spectral horse. Its ice blue eyes meet his, an expression of cold malevolence that seems to freeze him in place. Surrounding the mounted walker is an entire army of undead wights, a terrifying display of the unstoppable force that threatens Westeros. The sequence is a masterclass in suspense and horror, made even more impactful by the show's stunning visual effects. 9. The Mother of the Dragons. The finale of Season 1 delivered one of the most iconic moments in Game of Thrones, the hatching of Daenerys Targaryen's dragons. After the tragic demise of Khal Drogo, Daenerys performs a bold ritual, placing the lifeless Drogo and her 3 dragon eggs onto a funeral pyre. The scene is steeped in tension and symbolism. As night falls, Daenerys steps into the roaring flames, defying all expectations. By dawn, the fire has burned out, revealing an awe-inspiring sight. Daenerys, unharmed, cradling 3 newly hatched dragons. It's a breathtaking moment that marks her transformation into the Mother of Dragons and cements her status as a central figure in the unfolding story. This moment was one of the first major fantastical elements in the show, a series otherwise grounded in political intrigue and gritty realism. The visual effects were stunning for their time, bringing the dragons to life in a way that felt both magical and believable. The hatching was not just a turning point for Daenerys, but also a signal to the audience that Game of Thrones was about to dive deeper into the world of magic and prophecy. 8. The Red Wedding. Few scenes in television history are as infamous as the Red Wedding. This shocking sequence is a masterful blend of horror, betrayal, and gut-wrenching tragedy. What begins as a celebration of love and union, Edmure Tully's wedding to Rosalind Frey, quickly descends into a massacre that leaves fans reeling. The betrayal by House Frey and House Bolton against the Stark family is executed with brutal efficiency. Robb Stark, his mother Catelyn, his pregnant wife Talisa, and countless Stark soldiers are slaughtered in a scene that is as visually horrifying as it is emotionally devastating. The brutality is heightened by the context. The Starks had come to the Freys seeking peace and unity, only to be met with treachery. The Red Wedding was meticulously crafted, from the foreboding musical cues, like the haunting rendition of the Rains of Castamere, to the harrowing performances of the cast. It was a turning point in the series, signaling the ruthless nature of the Game of Thrones and shattering any lingering illusions of justice or morality in this world. It's a scene that's hard to watch, let alone rewatch, but it remains one of the most iconic moments in the series, encapsulating the relentless unpredictability and emotional weight of Game of Thrones. 7. Daenerys' death. Daenerys Targaryen's death in Season 8, Episode 6, is undoubtedly one of the moments that left fans stunned. Once the breaker of chains and mother of dragons, her descent into tyranny left fans reeling. The final confrontation in the throne room between Daenerys and Jon Snow is steeped in heartbreak, betrayal, and unresolved tension. Jon, torn between love and duty, makes the agonizing decision to kill Daenerys. As he embraces her and plunges the dagger into her heart, the gravity of the moment is almost too much to bear. Emilia Clarke's portrayal of Daenerys in her final moments, her shock, disbelief, and silent farewell, captured the tragic end of a character who once inspired hope and liberation. The emotional impact didn't stop there. Drogon's reaction to her death was both devastating and symbolic. Rather than attacking Jon, the dragon turned his fury on the Iron Throne, melting it down to a molten heap. This act not only marked the end of Daenerys' fiery pursuit of power, but also symbolized the destruction of the system that had caused so much suffering. Sixth, Ned Stark's execution. The execution of Ned Stark in Season 1, Episode 9, was the moment that caught everyone off guard and established Game of Thrones as a series that broke all the rules. Ned, played by Sean Bean, was framed as the honorable hero, the moral compass of the story. The execution came after a whirlwind of political intrigue. Ned, arrested for treason, believed he could save his daughters and secure peace by confessing to crimes he didn't commit. But King Joffrey, in an impulsive display of cruelty, defied his advisors and ordered Ned's execution anyway. Ned's execution wasn't just the end of a character. It was the catalyst for the War of the Five Kings and the unraveling of the Stark family. It also set the tone for the series, where honor could lead to a character's downfall, and betrayal often triumphed over loyalty. This masterfully crafted scene left fans speechless, forever changing how they viewed the world of Game of Thrones. It remains a pivotal moment that defined the series' willingness to take risks and shatter expectations. 5. Arya kills the Night King. Just as all hope seemed lost, the Night King confidently marched towards Bran in the Godswood, poised to end the Three-Eyed Raven's story once and for all. The undead army decimated Winterfell's defenses, leaving most of the characters we'd grown to love on the brink of death. Fans were prepared for a tragic ending. After all, this was Game of Thrones, a show notorious for gut-wrenching twists. But instead, it delivered one of its most surprising moments. Arya Stark, leaping out of the shadows, dagger in hand, to deal the final blow. Using her Valyrian steel dagger, Arya shattered not just the Night King but his entire undead army, saving Winterfell and all of Westeros in one swift move. The scene itself was intense, amplified by the eerie silence just before the Night King's death, followed by the explosive destruction of his army. What made this moment so shocking was the subversion of expectations. For years, many fans assumed Jon Snow, the show's archetypal hero, would be the one to take down the Night King. After all, Jon had faced him multiple times, and the two seemed destined for a final showdown. Arya's unexpected role in this climactic moment was both thrilling and divisive. Some fans praised the bold storytelling, while others felt the choice came out of nowhere, lacking the build-up they had hoped for. Fourth, Joffrey's death. The death of Joffrey Baratheon in Season 4, Episode 2, dubbed the Purple Wedding, remains one of the most satisfying moments in Game of Thrones. From the moment the scene began, fans knew something big was about to happen. Joffrey, the sadistic and insufferable young king, was reveling in tormenting his uncle Tyrion at the royal wedding banquet. Then came the poisoning. As Joffrey took a sip of wine and began choking, the banquet turned to chaos. His face contorted in agony, turning a ghastly shade of purple as he gasped for air, clawing at his throat. The scene was grotesque, but it was also poetic justice. After seasons of watching Joffrey inflict cruelty on everyone around him, fans couldn't help but feel a twisted sense of satisfaction as he finally met his end. Joffrey's death didn't just mark the end of his reign of terror, it was a turning point in the series. With the throne now vulnerable, new players stepped forward, and the power struggles only intensified. It also sparked immediate consequences for characters like Tyrion, who was wrongly accused of the murder. It reminded viewers that in Game of Thrones, no one, not even a king, is safe, and justice, however delayed, can sometimes come in the most satisfying form. 3. The assassination of Jon Snow. One of the most shocking moments in Game of Thrones came at the end of Season 5, with the brutal, unexpected death of Jon Snow. This was a show that constantly reminded us no one was safe, not even the central characters we had grown to love. After risking everything to save the wildlings and bring them south of the Wall, Jon's progressive leadership and alliance with the Free Folk didn't sit well with his Night's Watch brothers. They viewed his actions as treasonous, a betrayal of their sacred duty to defend the Wall. So, in one of the most harrowing scenes of the series, Jon was lured into a trap and ambushed by his own men. Each stab was accompanied by chilling accusations of "for the Watch," making the moment feel like a tragic funeral for everything Jon represented. Watching Jon fall to his knees, his life slipping away, was a gut punch to fans everywhere. For months, viewers debated whether Jon was truly gone. The uncertainty fueled countless theories. Was Jon really dead? Could Melisandre, the mysterious Red Woman, bring him back? The suspense lasted nearly a year, until Season 6 confirmed what fans had hoped for. Jon Snow was resurrected by Melisandre. While the scene remains a turning point in Jon's story, it also reinforced the show's ability to toy with our emotions and keep us on the edge of our seats. 2. The Walk of Shame. If there's one moment in Game of Thrones that made audiences feel a flicker of sympathy for Cersei Lannister, it was the infamous Walk of Shame in Season 5. Cersei, the epitome of cunning and cruelty, had spent years manipulating, betraying, and eliminating anyone who stood in her way. But in this moment, she found herself utterly powerless, a victim of the very systems she had exploited for so long. After being captured by the High Sparrow, a fanatical religious leader, Cersei was accused of adultery and incest. Her refusal to confess led to her imprisonment, humiliation, and eventual forced penance. The Walk of Shame was a harrowing punishment. Stripped naked and marched through the streets of King's Landing while jeering crowds hurled insults, filth, and even garbage at her. What made this scene unforgettable was the complexity of emotions it stirred. Despite all of Cersei's misdeeds, watching her endure such public humiliation felt deeply uncomfortable. Lena Headey's performance was masterful. Cersei's stoic demeanor and quiet resilience made you feel for her, even as you remembered the horrors she had inflicted on others. This moment wasn't just about punishment, it was about power. The Walk of Shame was the High Sparrow's way of demonstrating his newfound dominance over the Lannisters. It symbolized a shift in control, as Cersei, once the queen who commanded fear, became a figure of pity and scorn. But if we know anything about Cersei Lannister, it's that she doesn't stay down for long. This moment of humiliation would only fuel her rage, setting the stage for her revenge and reminding us why she's one of the most compelling characters in the entire series. 1. Roz says goodbye to Theon Greyjoy. When it comes to the most paused scenes in Game of Thrones, this particular moment from Season 1 certainly earns its spot. It's not a lore-defining event or a groundbreaking character arc. Far from it. Instead, it's one of those scenes that had fans scrambling for the remote, thanks to its non-PG content. The scene unfolds after Roz, a prostitute from Winterfell, spends the night with Theon Greyjoy. In the morning, she reveals her plans to leave for King's Landing in search of better opportunities and to escape the harsh realities of life in the North. Though Theon hides it behind his usual swagger and cocky demeanor, it's clear he's hurt by her decision. Still, Theon's response is, well, very Theon. Instead of engaging in a heartfelt farewell, he requests one final favor, asking Roz to flash her lady parts before she leaves. Roz, with her trademark confidence, obliges, leading to a moment that left fans stunned and, let's be honest, a little flustered. Which of these moments was your favorite? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to First Curiosity for more deep dives into the world of Westeros and beyond. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.